I don't know how long this is going to keep going. All right. So that's what happens in an age of AI. We have too much time on our hands. No, that was one shot. It actually. Bundy, you can go to the next slide. How many people have seen Star Wars? Or sorry, how many people here have not seen Star Wars? Raise your hand if you have not seen Star Wars.
Sorry, I'm uncultured.
Okay. But did you kind of like recognize like, okay. Just checking if you grew up under a rock, you know. All right, cool. So thanks everyone for joining me today. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the little Star Wars intro there. Wanted to set the stage for today's presentation. So 13 years ago, as you guys may or may not have read on screen as it was scrolling, 13 years ago, Arun and I, this is Arun on the left here, this was the first photo that I could find of the two of us that wasn't in like a bar or club. So 13 years ago, we showed up and we have stayed focused on one industry. We've had many competitors that have come and have gone. We've had some competitors that have come and stayed. And through it all, we've had a stellar reputation that has been built up brick by brick, release by release, customer experience by customer experience. Bunty?
Damn it. Wow.
I had some more serious like title there, and then was like, what do I actually want here? This is copywriting 101. All right, so wanted to just celebrate, not like necessarily, I mean, it is what we have accomplished as a company, but really what our customers have accomplished with our help. We have had 31 million, closing in on 32 million appointments that have been run on ZenMaid in the past 13 years. We have tracked over $3 billion in revenue from clients on ZenMaid. We have 3,500 maid services that use us daily, 20,000 cleaners that benefit from our software, and that is from a team of 30. I guess actually all of which are in this room, I believe, other than Frane and Tom, who's going to be joining us, I think, tomorrow. Cool thing about these numbers, so a couple things. So first of all is most of this has been generated essentially in the past like 18 months. Essentially every 18 months this number is doubling. So like just in terms of impact, it's like that's amazing, but our run rate is just, or like the impact that we are having is just going up. I don't know if it's exponentially, but it's going up at quite the rate. The other cool thing is that 3 billion number to me is the most impressive thing that like I think I've seen about ZenMaid. As best we can tell, we only track about 50% of the actual revenue that clients are making with ZenMaid. Because Stephanie, you don't have prices in there, right? So Stephanie,
like 5 billion,
yeah. So Stephanie uses QuickBooks for her payments and invoicing, so she doesn't take the time to put that information into ZenMaid because there's minimal benefit to doing that. There's plenty of folks like her, so this number could be closer to 5 billion or 6 billion, possibly like even more, but that is very, very cool to see. One more round of applause because everyone here has contributed to that. Bunty. Awesome. Who we serve, our ICP. So this is Stephanie. Stephanie is an amazing owner and human being. This is that she is both an amazing owner and an amazing human being, not an amazing owner and just a human being. Just in case that's not clear. She comes to ZenMaid for anything and everything that she needs. ZenMaid is essentially the one-stop shop when she has a problem in her maid service. This includes finding clients, delivering amazing cleanings, and making it all look easy while doing it. So this right here is what I would say that ZenMaid is already doing, but throughout this presentation, I hope that you guys are gonna see just how many more ways that we can help amazing owners like Stephanie, and I know that her presentation for us later in the week is gonna show the same thing, and lots of the things that we'll be talking about later in the week will be building on this stuff. Andy? Cool. So, the future that we're building here at ZenMaid, we're trying to build things that are specifically for maid services, things that are better because they are specifically for maid services, things that are affordable. We have an industry that can't always afford the best software or tools on the industry. We're looking to, arm the rebels, so to say. And all getting better every year. Last year we talked about progress over perfection as being a company value. This is a focus on the progress part, that anything that we put into the world to help maid service owners, we should be listening to their feedback and be trying to actively improve those things so it can help them more and help future maid service owners more and more. Awesome. So the plan that we're going to talk about today is 4 simple steps: organize, educate, innovate, and give back. Steps 1 and 2, as we'll talk through, you guys will recognize. This really explains how we have been winning for the past 13 years. Steps 3 and 4 is ZenMaid's next chapter. And one thing to just so I should have actually fixed this. So chapter is actually the wrong word here. So these are essentially like the next phase of ZenMaid might be a better way of putting it. One thing I want to emphasize is that it's not that chapters 1 and 2 are over by any means. It's these 4 steps we have to do in conjunction, we have to do together in order to win in the long term. But we've been able to focus on 1 and 2 until now, and now we have the ability to also begin focusing on 3 and 4. So, Bunty? All right, quick refresher. I know you guys have heard me talk about this from the product empire, from the ZenMaid ecosystem, and from a couple of other things, but every problem that a maid service owner experiences can fundamentally be broken down into 3 different types of problems. So you have delivering the cleaning. This would include hiring, onboarding, training, maybe quality control, anything that goes into delivering amazing cleanings and enough amazing cleanings for the business to work. Step number 2, they have to find cleaning clients that they can connect with cleaners to actually make money. Then there's a bunch of crap in between those that have to happen to make these 2 things possible. But this is fundamentally what folks get paid for. The back office is everything else. So you guys will recognize that the back office is primarily where ZenMaid as a company and ZenMaid as a product has focused our attention for the past 13 years. So step number 1 is to organize. This is organizing our customers' businesses. This is solving the back office. It's owning the back office and the admin. So admin, scheduling, invoicing, payroll, everything that you guys can think of that the core ZenMaid product offers. We offer amazing customer service when people need help and have problems, and our team already goes above and beyond to help make our maid service customers successful, to make maid services successful. We're always focused on being the best value tool in the industry, that we want to be the best. We want to be the best tool in the industry, but remaining affordable and remaining for the everyman is something that's important to us as a company. Even within just the ZenMaid core product right now, we're going to talk about how ZenMaid overall is more than just a scheduling software, but for this it's even within ZenMaid. We're already solving more than just the core problem of scheduling, that every cleaner now knows exactly where they need to be and when. We have automated communications that save time and look pro. We have owners that actually can take a vacation, which you guys can see here on an ad that we're running for ZenMaid. That's an actual photo from one of our clients who posted this, I believe, to the ZenMaid Mastermind about just being on vacation and still being able to sleep well at night because of ZenMaid and everything. And so we have, over the past 13 years, gone from being a simple scheduling software when we just launched that. For those of you guys that don't know the backstory, we had a booking form that we thought was going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. We completely missed the mark on that because our design was absolutely terrible. I'll try to find you guys an old photo of that if possible. But along with that, we were like, well, nobody's going to sign up for just a booking form. It needs to have, some sorry excuse of a calendar and some basic reminders. Otherwise, no one's going to take this booking form seriously. And our earliest clients looked at the booking form, were like, this is trash. Looked at the calendar and were like, what do you mean it can automatically send communications? And that's literally what we built ZenMaid off of. So it started out as scheduling software and now does so much more. And that's a massive credit to the product team, to everyone in this room, but to the product that we've built over the past 13 years. Bunty? So Our secret weapon, this slide says the same thing 6 different ways. Our secret weapon is how we price. So for those of you guys that aren't intimately familiar with our pricing model, we have a base price depending on the plan that any maid service owner selects based on the features that they need. And then on top of that base price, we charge per cleaner, and we also charge per SMS so that we have the freedom to just add as many SMS as we want to and not feel essentially penalized for offering our customers like more. But what that means is that we scale with our customers. So when they grow, we grow. When they win, we win. And as the handy dandy graph shows on the right side, damn it, Bunty, as the handy dandy graph on the right side shows, up and to the right. All right, cool. And so why this matters? So this matters because it gives us the freedom to invest where others can't. That essentially when we have a product that when our customers become more successful, we are rewarded for it. We can now begin looking at ways outside of our core product to help them to be more successful. Literally anything that we do to help maid services to be more successful will in the long run help our business, help our mission, right, and help our bottom line, right? It allows us the opportunity to take riskier bets. We can try things that don't necessarily need to pay off immediately. And we can, essentially just take riskier bets. And so essentially what it ultimately means is that we have the best monetization engine in the industry. Once somebody is using ZenMaid for their business, the chances of them taking it out is not going to be like that likely. It's a quite critical system. They have to use us or they have to use a system like ours. And by us monetizing that, it allows us to just invest in so many other ways. And essentially we now have earned that right, essentially. So next slide. Cool. All right. So step number 2 is educate. You guys will recognize this from all of the amazing content marketing that the marketing team is doing and that multiple other team members and departments have started contributing to with AI. So we can't solve every problem with software or tech. I put yet on there. I regret that because I don't think that we actually want to. I don't think that we should be striving for that. I think that the human element of ZenMaid is one of the things that makes us really special, that we should be leaning into using tech, but we want to be using AI and tech to really scale the human element, right? That so like I don't think that that's actually what we're striving for, but the point is that when we can't provide them the best possible solution with software or with tech, we can guide them. We can point them to consultants that might be able to directly solve their problems. We might be able to point them to coaches that can guide them on how they can solve their own problems. We can point them to the ZenMaid Mastermind. We've got all of these different options that we can do to help them. And then a quick note for the third bullet point here is content beyond the product. So SaaS companies and many companies like ours, if they do content marketing at all, they will do content marketing where it is generally either directly about their core product or it's just one layer beyond that. It's like we're a scheduling software, so we write blog content on scheduling problems for maid services, and then we talk about our software in the end of every single article. Right, but you guys have seen for ZenMaid that because we've already had this mindset of making maid services successful, and like I said, steps 1 and 2 are already in play with the engine and everything, that you guys have seen that the content and the things that we do, we're willing to help maid services already far beyond what is related to our core product. And so that's something that has already made us different over the past 13 years, and we want to continue to double down on. So a quick example is hiring. So we don't fix hiring yet directly inside ZenMaid or via any ZenMaid product, but we do teach a better process. Stephanie has published, or we've published podcasts with Stephanie talking about her hiring process and everything that she's learned over, 7 years running Serene Clean. We have blog articles about it, all of that stuff. So when we help our clients with better hiring, they end up with more cleaners and a better business. They end up paying us more. So that's part of a little loop that we create by helping folks with our content with this specifically. Slide. Cool. So for this is just a quick note of just, I think this is pretty obvious. Most people think about content marketing is here on the right side, where content marketing is generally used to get people's attention and everything. What we are talking about, or it's essentially we have two sides of two ways of winning with content marketing is a good way of putting it, that we're already in a place and we've created a fast enough flywheel here just with our own customer base that at this point we could just publish content for our current customer base, continue to help them winning, and the company would continue to be healthy. But the added benefit is when we create amazing content that's great for any cleaning company, whether they use us, Jobber, Maid Central, etc., is that they will consider us in the future when they are reconsidering their scheduling software for any reason. So it helps future clients, and it might even help clients that will never sign up for ZenMaid, and that's okay too. There's benefits to that, and it's it's who we want to be in the industry. Lightning quick example there is there's plenty of folks that use Maid Central that know that Maid Central is not that it's not great for them, but that it's not the right fit for pretty much the majority of their maid service owner friends that are going to be considerably smaller than them. So when we help out those Maid Central clients and we give to them knowing that they're not going to switch over to us, or not realistically anytime soon, that's what might be us earning their referrals to these other clients and stuff. So yeah, it's genuine help, and it chips in on the marketing side. Bundy? And so yeah, we already do this at scale. I've already touched on a couple of these. Some cool numbers here. We have the Maid Summit. I believe we're doing the 5th Maid Summit this year, 6th Maid Summit. I'm not sure how many, but 6th, yeah. We've got 10,000 plus lifetime attendees on there. I'm not gonna lie, I made up that number, but I'm confident that it's true. More what I mean by that is it could be 20,000. I have no idea what it actually is, but it must be more than 10, trust me. All right. The rest I asked Ryan for, okay? The rest of these numbers are legit and are not made up. What? Perfect. All right. Filthy Rich Cleaners, we have a podcast that you guys know. I think you guys have been asked to listen to multiple episodes of that at this point. That we have the wonderful Stephanie. Yeah, Stephanie. So with this, I believe we're at 150 episodes now? 160 episodes here. We have 232,000 listens, and this is another one where the rate of growth on that is really quite impressive. It feels like just yesterday that I think we were celebrating 100K or 150K, that I don't think we'd realized that we'd broken 200K before looking up the numbers yesterday. We have 3,500 readers a month on the magazine. We have 10,500 members in our mastermind, 11,000 YouTube subscribers and growing. Instagram, I think, is pretty similar, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And email newsletter has 32,000 active readers that get some very unhinged content from Nicole.
Actually, it's from you. It's from you.
Yeah. I will say that it does make me smile every week when I get an email from myself in my inbox. Yeah. It's always me, but I'm always like, did I say that? Did I really say that? So it's
no. You probably didn't.
Probably not. Yeah. Yeah. Next slide.
Let me actually want to make a quick comment about how great this is, because how many of us know other software companies that are just so boring, and they would never have a Maid Summit or a podcast that's as entertaining as this Stephanie over here. So I think this is pretty cool to revel in that. And that everyone has like a different stake in each of these channels. Yeah. Yeah. Quick round of applause for that, by the way. Okay. So quickly.
I'm excited for you to hear this conversation.
Stephanie, come on. All right. So just quickly on on like education and content, because what we're going to be talking about next are tools and things that we'll be building that we might end up offering for free, which makes it more like content and education than like step one of product. But the free stuff that we offer at ZenMaid, it's not bait, it's also not charity, right? It's not something that we do just entirely out of the goodness of our hearts, but it is who we want to be as a company, that we do want to be the company that is able to be more generous, that is able to do more for this industry simply because we can, right? Like I just see so many companies out there that like could have like an impact on, you know, particularly the people that they serve, like let alone bigger communities and stuff like that. But I just see, you know, like that, especially like companies that get taken over by PE and et cetera. And so to me, this is how we become the most trusted brand in the industry, which I would say arguably that we already are, but I would say that even if we already are, it's still the tip of the iceberg. I still think that there's so much more that we can do. And so step one, and everything that we've accomplished with the core product, that's what funds us to outgive all of our competition and to be generous and to try all of the things that we're going to talk about next. Just quickly, AI did a nice job of actually putting together a little like flywheel here, but this is going to be a much bigger presentation for a future time. If you guys are not familiar with a business flywheel, it's essentially the idea that if you have a series of steps that where like one leads to another, and if you can increase any of them, that all of them essentially increase. It's popularized by Amazon with the Amazon like flywheel, but a little example of a flywheel here for ZenMaid is so you can theoretically, because of the flywheel, you can start anywhere. So if we start with like clients win in the bottom left. So when clients win, they pay us more. When they pay us more, we can invest in better product. When we invest in better product, we get more users and we make more money, right? When we make more money, we can invest in better content, and when we invest in better content, clients win. And so that's not like perfect. I mean, pay more and then more money like kind of shows up twice there. So like there's some holes in like in the analogy, but it gives you guys like a nice idea of what we are trying to create here, which really is like a win-win-win for like everyone involved, right? That's actually a good way of putting it. I feel like too many companies out there seem to win at the expense of their users, and we want to win with our users, and we want to set it up that if our users aren't winning, then like we shouldn't really be winning, you know. But win. All right, fun stuff. So step number three, step number one was to organize. So this is organizing all of the businesses that you know, we've done, again, over the past 13 years, the 3,500 maid service owners that benefit from us daily. Two was to educate and to benefit the entire industry with amazing content that helps them to be successful, get more freedom, be more profitable, all of that jazz. Step three is to innovate. This is where it gets interesting. We have 13 years of product building experience and muscle that we have built up, and we have an audience with a trusted brand that we can now launch to. And so we now have the ability to aim our attention at the rest of the industry's problems beyond what we have solved until now. And again, just to be clear, this is not that we will stop solving our current problems. The core ZenMaid product will always be the main focus. But yeah, like you'll see after this. Cool. Yeah. So why now? I'm very proud to say I believe this is the only time in this presentation that AI pops up, which which I thought you guys might be nice to like to see, especially after last year's where it was all AI. So cool. So yeah, right. So why now? AI does really change a lot of what's going on that I think previous to AI, we might have just continued to focus on steps 1 or 2 until we were able to build up a bigger dev team, more resources, and all that stuff. But with AI, we now have 30 people that are able to build and to do things like what previously would have required 300. This is a temporary thing that this will become the new norm when our competition catches up and all of that. that stuff, which is why I'm pushing for us to make like kind of a move on this now, that we have a little window where we can launch a bunch of products and get a head start on other folks in the industry, but also just like to genuinely like solve problems for the industry that maybe it wouldn't have been reasonable for someone to solve or to turn into a business in the past. That's what AI allows us to do. So everyone can now innovate. Everyone can now innovate, not just the devs, marketers, success, support. Everyone is now a builder. As you'll see in a slide or two, this does not mean that like the devs are like no longer valuable or anything like that. It's essentially that there's like levels to this, and so AI has unlocked multiple levels for the non-technical team to be able to contribute, and that includes both on the core product and other like products, and it's also given devs like more abilities in many ways like as well. So yeah, on to the next slide. Cool. So what we're already building, we have Plutus and MaidPop that you guys might be familiar with. This is the essentially like pop-up widgets for client websites that helps them to get more email leads off of their websites. So Plutus is more involved and was built custom for Stephanie and by the dev team over the past year. And then MaidPop is something that I vibe coded that's much more like basic and everything, but are both helping to solve that marketing problem. We have MaidPath, which Tom, who's been helping me to build that, will be demoing for us tomorrow or Tuesday. That is a new product that we are releasing to help our owners to onboard and train cleaners more consistently. We have Zoe the Maid Genius. You guys will be seeing more about this later in the week. This is what the dev team was working on during the dev pre-retreat last week, that we have an AI that we have built that is trained up on folks like data in their accounts, the knowledge base on intercom, but then it's also trained up on all of our content, all of our educational content. So it's almost like all of the information between steps 1 and steps 2 are trained into one AI. And so this AI will likely begin being like kind of the main almost like chat, almost like window into support here in the near future, and will help our clients to make better use of ZenMaid. But something that we're actually exploring is we bought MaidGenius.ai last week. We're exploring making the AI available to other maid service owners that aren't yet using ZenMaid. And then we have MaidType. This was a fun personality test that Oog made probably 2 or 3 months ago. I'm not sure exactly when. We haven't put it into play quite yet, but this is the kind of fun thing that we can get maid service owners just engaging with and enjoying.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are any of these paid, like MaidPath and MaidPop, are we planning to paywall them?
So that is essentially a question for later. So really what I want is I want the entire team focused around how do we solve our clients' problems and essentially adding value. Sounds cliche, but it's like, how do we solve our clients' problems and make our clients' lives easier? To me, it's part of the strategy to be figured out afterwards once we sort of see the value that we're adding, to then sort of, price it and all of that stuff to align it with things. So for example, MaidPop, because I just released that on my own and it's quite minimal and very, very simple. For that, I think what I did was it's free, but has MaidPop branding. And then I believe they can pay $50 a year if they want to remove the MaidPop branding, or they can refer us 3 clients. And that's literally just sending 3 emails, and we're not verifying if they're true or anything like that. So it's about the easiest thing that you could possibly do. The only person that has paid for that thus far was trying to get a job with us, which was very clever. Credit where credit is due. And then MaidPath. So one thing that's interesting is, so when we're talking about giving value and offering things that help our users, and some of those things like being free or being affordable, and I've talked about that earlier in the presentation, is we're trying to come up with a variety of things that can help us to essentially get our foot in the door so that eventually everyone is using ZenMaid, right? So in a perfect world, we'd find one of these products in the future is just something that's such a no-brainer that everyone in the industry signs up for it. And whether that's free, whether that's $10 a month, whether it's $50 a month, honestly, I don't really care, because like we really make the money on the back end with the scheduling software. But one thing that's interesting that I have realized is, so there is such thing as offering too much value for free. So with MaidPath, we have a really, really good idea, and we've come up with a really like high value offering that we can do for free that we do think that everyone in the industry would use, like no brainer. But we also have a couple of ideas that honestly it makes sense to make people pay for, even if it's mainly so they like value it, right? But like, yeah, like allowing them to do custom branding and to make it like, there's some things that we don't really want to give away for free. Although all of those things I'm open to being like challenged on, but yeah, it's essentially once we've established the value of these like new things, then we figure out where they fall into the business model. So.
Is Zoe replacing ZenBot? Or is it going to work in the introduction?
We don't really know where ZenBot came from. Was that Chris? Oh, you just named it ZenBot in like Intercom or whatever? Okay, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, perfectly. It makes perfect sense. But yeah, it probably will be replaced because Zoe is the name of the AI. So yeah, but we think that Zoe is great if you're already a ZenMaid user, and we go, great, this is Zoe, you know, the ZenMaid genius or whatever, then that's nice alliteration, makes perfect sense. If you don't already know ZenMaid and aren't already using ZenMaid, then Zoe's kind of meaningless, which is why we got maidgenius.ai.
Yeah,
so.
And I also think they're different because ZenBot is from Intercom, so it's like their native tool, whereas this one will be ZenMaid native, I think.
Well, so it already plugs into the ZenMaid or into the Intercom knowledge base, so it'll likely replace ZenBot. And we're kind of figuring that out of if it replaces ZenBot, how does it cleanly get things to you guys when they need to be elevated? But we're figuring that out. But it'd be very confusing to have ZenBot with the chat and then to have an AI. That'd be very confusing. Kind of has to be one or the other. Cool. We won't talk about this like too much because we've talked about this before. But the product empire. So from these, so essentially we have 5 different tiers of like tools or solutions when we're talking about technical solutions that we can be offering to our clients to help them. So on the bottom tier, we have like an individual page type thing. Nicole, Jenna, you guys have an example of this, of something that's like just on like a single blog article? Like
Contract generator.
Yeah, contract generator is a good one. Yeah, so like a contract generator on a blog article about how to create a contract for your first cleaning client or whatever like it might be. This would tend to be like an HTML thing that really anyone here could do with the help of Claude Code. That would be tier 1. Tier 2 would be a standalone. This would be like our cleaning company name generator that might live at its own URL and isn't like a proper app, or like a website audit tool might be another good example here for like a standalone. Essentially has its own URL. Generally, this won't require an email address. Generally, this will. So you could think about this as almost like a lead magnet on the marketing side. You get up to apps with tier 3. This is going to be things like MaidPop, where essentially the onboarding really is the entire app. Like the onboarding is the entire settings. You put it on your page and it's very much like set it and forget it. SaaS is going to be ZenMaid and all of our competitors. It's going to be things like PipeHire, QuickBooks, OpenPhone, all of like those things. MaidPath would actually fall into tier 4, even though we kind of put MaidPop and MaidPath on the same like level. MaidPop is distinctly tier 3. MaidPath is distinctly tier 4. It's a much simpler SaaS than ZenMaid, but it's absolutely a SaaS. Tier 5 are going to be platforms or marketplaces. So this is this is like us getting into competing with Yelp of being like a cleaning company directory and having all the ZenMaid clients and helping them to actually generate like leads, and that'd be a massive programmatic SEO play. And then on the flip side of that, we could compete with Indeed and do a cleaning job board, which both of those things are on the endless to-do list. In my mind, it's we will earn the right to take those shots as we get more experience with things below. 1 second, Bunty. Chris, hand up. Yeah.
Partially answered, but also where does the dev team fall into like tier 4 and tier 5 for this? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Bunty, what were you going to say? I'll answer yours in a sec.
Go for it.
Okay, yeah, okay, so cool. So pre AI, the dev team was absolutely needed for tier 5, absolutely needed for tier 4, pretty much needed for tier 3, pretty much needed for tier 2, and pretty much needed for tier 1, right? And so, in my opinion, with AI, I now think that there's way more people on the team that can now do tier 1 tools, tier 2 tools, and even tier 3 tools. Tier 3 I think takes a bit more experience that I had built a couple of things, but we've seen people already building little tier 3 tools. To me, tier 3 is goes live with dev approval. Right, that Alex was looking over my shoulder for most of what I was doing for MaidPop. And that's why I have Tom helping me with MaidPath, right? And so once you get into tier 4 and tier 5, it's the non-devs can help to prototype there, but at some point it has to be passed over to the dev team so that we do our customers justice. Right, and that's the most important thing, right? Is AI is great, AI is fun. You guys have seen all the silly things that I do with it, but also this is a business and our clients are running a business and it has to work and it has to be good, right? So yeah, devs absolutely have to be involved tier 4, tier 5, and I would say tier 3. And honestly, there's no reason not to have taking a look and even contributing if you guys have ideas for tier 1, 2, and 3, etc. So yeah, Bunty.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of do a shout out on what you were kind of glossing over on the individual page stuff. So as a reference, the pricing generator, contract generator, this was just something that we would put on the magazine as a normal blog article. This is a normal workflow that Nicole and Jenna would do, but I think in this age, Jenna, you took the initiative to turn it into just a blog to actual generator. Before, this would just be a PDF download. You just download it, you save it to your computer, you edit it somehow. Now you go through essentially the blog post to do an interactive web app where you fill out your information and it spits out a PDF that is custom to your business. And just like how you just said, I think just a couple of years ago, we wouldn't need a developer to do that.
Yeah.
And now it's sort of the bar has risen. I think we're probably one of the first people to have taken the initiative to take something that was something pretty rudimentary and upgrade it to where we are calling it now tier 1.
Yeah.
You have some technical experience, so not everyone is there, but I think that kind of highlights how everyone can ship on some level.
Yep. Let's go on to the next slide. Yeah. Cool.
Good job, Jenna.
Awesome. So, our unfair advantage. So the big thing is now when we build these solutions, when we try these things, MaidPop is not something we would have spent time on in the past, not only because of the dev requirements, right? But also because the opportunity, right? That we had more important things to focus on, and we weren't we didn't have the audience that we have now to launch it to. So we can literally launch to hundreds of people, thousands, right? You guys have seen the audience that we have. We can literally launch these products to 32,000 newsletter readers on day 1 if we want to. We don't do that because we're trying to get these things ready and still take a lean startup type approach. But yes, we can build a tool and we can launch it to hundreds, if not thousands in one day. And what that means is something that used to take years, now instant is a bit overstated, but it cuts down the time massively, both in bringing things in making things happen and bringing things to life, but also in taking them to market and in validating. And the big thing is that we have distribution that nobody can copy, right? That a lot of the AI stuff that we can do, other people can build the same tools that we're building. Our reputation, our brand, the distribution and the trust that we have, that's really what sets us apart. But a big thing is that's hard earned, right? That's earned because of the way that we approach the product and the way that we approach the customer experience. That's not something to take for granted, right? People can unsubscribe, right? But they don't. Nice job, Nicole. All right. Next slide. Yeah. Cool. And so then just quickly on this is, so to just reiterate, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to add value or to make our customers successful, or even just make our customers like lives better, right? We talked about being delightful as a customer value last year, and so I say permission to play that. I think you guys have seen how silly like I can be with like a lot of these things. It's just like have fun, and we can just try some cool things and try to solve some problems in some cool ways. Yeah, we'll do some more fun stuff, and we can bring more fun to the industry, right? Like, I think that's something that like people forget is, yes, we do B2B SaaS, and yes, it's very boring, but the same way that it's like a bunch of fun people in this room making up a boring B2B SaaS company, that's our maid service owners. Look at Stephanie, right? Like, you know. So yeah, like I said, that these things don't have to make money now or ever, depending on how they kind of like fit into things. But like steps 1 and 2 have earned us the right to tinker, and so I encourage everyone to just, you know, imagine a little bit. Monty? Perfect. All right. Step 1 was to organize. Step 2 was to educate. Step 3 was to innovate, and step 4 is to give back. This is the new chapter. All right. I feel like this is something that has probably changed for me personally more, maybe in the last year or so, that maybe this will catch some of you guys by surprise, but I feel like this might be something that we're newly kind of incorporating. I feel like last year we were already trying to innovate. This, I think, is something that is a little bit new. So the old question that we've always kind of asked ourselves, or that I've personally asked myself, is how do we charge more? How do we make more money with ZenMaid from each user? And that can lead to some very good conclusions, right? Like blackmail them, or or how do we select features that people are going to be willing to pay more for, so that we can raise prices over time and everything. And so recently I've been challenged by a couple of friends with the new question of how can we charge less. But it's not necessarily, it's not make less. It's very specifically worded. It's definitely not make less, right? It's how can we charge less? And so yeah, I have a friend who has I think he has like the 5th most popular plugin or something on Shopify, where it's like they charge $15 a month flat for everything, and they're doing like $17 million a year. And he was challenging me on this. I think he's a psychopath. Like, I don't think that's the right way to go, and we're not going to do that. But it was very interesting to have my thought process challenged on that. And there's a couple of other things. So yeah, Bunty, next slide. So yeah, a quick thought experiment. Just imagine for a second what it would look like in the overall industry, like holistically. What would it look like if we spent the next 2 years getting better on the core product? That we spent the next 2 years adding in new features, fixing the bugs, making things faster, all the things that give our customers a better experience. And imagine that we managed to drop the price by 20%, right? How much more of the market do we capture? How much trust do we earn? How much more word of mouth do we earn? And then what I love from my friend, because you'd think he'd be this really generous, giving guy, and he was just like, only a psychopath would try to compete with me. He was just like, what, somebody's gonna come in and spend 10 years building to maybe get $15 a month off my client, or to try to convince my client to get off my $15 a month plan? Only a psychopath would do that. I was like, oh, interesting, right? Like, my friend's a bit cutthroat. So, but yeah, it's a weird anomaly. Anyways, I think this is a really good thought experiment. I'd love for us to think about ways that this is possible. There is a balance to this, though, however, because it is important that we remember that as the company makes more money, we have more money to invest into the bigger mission. So like there is a balance where we, like, you know, you could say, oh, theoretically it'd be best to just offer the software entirely for free, but how quickly we would go out of business, and then nobody wins, right? So it's finding that that balance. So yeah, thought that was a good thought experiment. Next. So, ways that we can give back. We have the ZenMaid Starter Plan currently, I believe, makes about 2% of ZenMaid's revenue, less than $10,000 a month, I believe. That is currently paid for by folks at approximately $19 a month, $19, $23, some $27. That is something that we could just make that free. We could give back to the folks in the industry that need it the most, and give back to them. It would be an amazing asset for the marketing team, for all the PPC campaigns, and just being able to say that we have a legitimately free software, right? There are some limitations on it, but if you're a solo cleaner who doesn't have aspirations of growing, you could use it forever for free. And you know that's what free forever means. We have done that in the past We did turn that off. We've made some changes that we think would change the results there. We've already talked about MaidPop and MaidPath being largely free, entirely free, something along those lines. And then just a quick one, we've talked to a couple of folks about potentially taking a percentage of payments, right? That if people ran their invoice payments through ZenMaid, then we could get a small percentage of that $3 billion that we have generated. And so something that was interesting that my friend actually challenged me on, of if we had $1 million that we, let's say, made, that we added to our annual bottom line through payment like margins, is he's like, the obvious thing to do is to take that money and to put it in the bank and to like reinvest it and to distribute some out to like for profits into the team and et cetera. He said, what if you take that money and essentially give it back to the customers? How much more alluring does that make your software? So in this, there's two ways that we could do it. We could either take that $1 million and essentially go, great, that's approximately 15%, so we're gonna drop prices by 15% because we now make that money. Or what we could do is where everyone else is offering 2.9% credit card processing, we could maybe offer 2.7% and make no margin there. We don't make any margin now, right? Like if we did that, like how much would that help us to sell the base software? And again, we make more money as they make more money with the base software. So that's a good way of giving back, and we'll be talking later about other ways. So yeah, next. Awesome. So we're getting to a size now where what's best for the industry is what's best for ZenMaid. So you guys have heard the saying, like a rising tide raises all ships. That is what we are. That is the approach that we are taking with this industry. We're the rising tide. That's us. They're the ships. So yeah, this is talking about how we want to be like a generational, or we want to treat everything like a generational company and thinking long-term and not transactional on a short-term basis, that everything is about the long-term interest of our clients. What's in the best interest of our long-term clients is going to be best for ZenMaid on a long enough time horizon. And so that's something that I want everybody to be thinking about. Awesome. The big idea, we have 3 categories, and within those 3 categories, there are endless problems that maid service owners experience every single day in their businesses. So there are so many directions that we're allowed to, and we have the opportunity to go, that AI allows us to do, and we have earned the opportunity to do over the past like 13 years. And the opportunity here for ZenMaid is massive. And something that I really want to emphasize here is that ZenMaid is not some like nebulous entity. It's certainly not me, right? It's everybody in this room. So when I say that the opportunity is massive, and like the opportunity for us to help our clients on a completely different level than we ever have before, like that's an opportunity for every individual in this room. I showed you guys on the tier slides of how building and opportunities for us to help like users has changed. That means that everyone here can now contribute in a new and different way than they could before. And so yeah, the opportunity is for everybody here, which makes up ZenMaid as a company. Awesome. So last time, the plan. We've already spent a bunch of time helping our clients to organize. That is a never-ending game of whack-a-mole. It will continue to be a never-ending game of whack-a-mole. Step 2 is to educate and to help our clients to be successful by solving their problems with content and with things outside of the core organizational product that we offer. That's gotten us here. Next, steps 3 and 4, we have innovate and give back. That's how we're going to take things to the next level. We're going to bring new solutions that AI unlocks or unlocks our ability to bring to market, and we're going to give back and be generous in a way that this industry hasn't seen before. Perfect transition. We want more of this. Back to Stephanie. Still an amazing owner and human being, unless something has changed during the presentation. I did these slides before they showed up on screen, so yeah. She still comes to ZenMaid for anything that she needs, the one-stop shop for any problem that she experiences in her maid service, including finding amazing clients, delivering amazing cleanings, and making it all look easy from how many hours away? 20 hours of driving away? From 20 hours of driving away. Yeah, Monty, is that last slide? Yes, there it is.